Well, guys, today I'm doing something a little bit different, something I didn't ever think I'd really be doing for you guys, but as of recently, some of you guys might be aware of this. There's been some stuff going on at TCGplayer, which hasn't been really good, and I thought I'd offer just a couple of my thoughts and see what you guys think as well, too, because I kind of want to hear from you about the whole situation. So if you guys don't know, there was a TCGplayer authentication center in Syracuse, and it was closed down by eBay, who purchased TCGplayer a while ago, back in 2020. Not really a while ago, I guess it's only 3 years. And they closed out that location and fired all the people there recently. And a lot of people are upset about this, and I would say for good reason. But I'm just going to read some articles here. I have 3 different articles. I have the source as well as the URL to it if you guys wanted to check it out. I know it'd be kind of hard to type that in, but I'm a little old school, so I got it on paper, and then as well as the title from the article. And I just kind of want to read these, get my thoughts and my opinions on these, and kind of have a little bit of a discussion with you guys. And once I finish reading the articles or in between them, I'm going to work on packaging one of my orders here off of TCGplayer, because I'm not fancy enough to know how to edit video gameplay in the background as I have a dialectic discussion with you guys about what's been going on. But I'm gonna go ahead and read this. This one's a little bit more just like about the facts of what things are going on. It's a very short article. It's only 1 page. It's from MSN, and this is what they have to say about what's been going on with TCGplayer as of lately. So, eBay is slashing the jobs of 220 workers at TCGplayer's authentication center in Syracuse, New York. As reported earlier by local news outlets, eBay will move the online trading card marketplace's operations to a warehouse in Kentucky. A decision TCGplayer's union claims is eBay's attempt to evade its bargaining obligations. So we got some of the facts here. 220 people are losing their job. There was a location owned by TCGplayer, which is now owned by eBay, in Syracuse, New York, and they're closing that. And what the union from that location is saying is that the reason eBay is making this decision is because they want to evade bargaining obligations with the union that is located there at Syracuse, New York. Now, if there's one thing I know about corporations and organizations is that they do not like unions, because they give a little bit of power to the worker and take away power from the owners and things like that. And so I could definitely see that being possibly true, which would be really sad if that's the case, that they're doing as well as really evil, in my opinion. But let's read on here. eBay acquired TCGplayer for $295 million in 2022 as part of its efforts to expand its presence in the trading card industry. The workers at TCGplayer unionized under the Communication Workers of America, abbreviated as CWA, in 2023, a year later after TCGplayer was purchased by eBay, which later filed unfair labor charges that accused eBay of refusing to acknowledge the union, failing to provide relevant information related to collective bargaining, and surveilling pro-union employees, among other alleged union-busting tactics. So union busting is when a corporation tries to do everything in its power to stop a union from negotiating wages or labor laws and things like that. I'm going to be honest, surveilling pro-union employees, that's kind of like crazy. Like, imagine just minding your own business at work, and because you're in support of your coworkers being paid well and treated fairly and things like that, you're literally getting spied on. Getting spied on at work by anyone's not fair. And I've actually had similar experiences to this, of my boss spying on me and other workers, and that really sucking, to be honest. So that's pretty terrible and really crazy that this is going on in the day and age we live in. TCGplayer and eBay also canceled their meeting to finalize the union's first contract just days before eBay revealed it's closing the Syracuse location. So that's pretty shady as well. The CWA has since filed other unfair labor practices charges with the National Labor Relations Board, NLBR, accusing eBay of terminating the employment of workers to avoid bargaining on Monday. If you want to get over a problem, you can just remove it, apparently. The CWA claimed that eBay hired security guards at TCGplayer's Syracuse Authentication Center that have created an oppressive atmosphere by physically and verbally harassing employees. Essentially, what's going on here is they're policing the workers that are having to leave this location and have lost their jobs and things like that, which is also very crazy and probably a big waste of money, because you don't need to hire security guards for people that are fired. They're gonna go home. So, but yeah, that would definitely be a situation I wouldn't like to be in personally. TCGplayer is closing its Syracuse authentication center to consolidate operations within an eBay logistics center in Kentucky. eBay spokesperson Maddie Martinez said in a statement to The Verge, "We recognize the near-term impact it will have on our employees, their families, and the Syracuse community, and we are dedicated to take care of our people during this transition." And now what I will say about this part right here and the eBay spokesperson is I have never known a business spokesperson to be honest or to actually mean basically any of the things they're saying here. From what I understand, there's been no severance package or any type of help with new employment or things like that done on behalf of eBay or TCGplayer in the situation, which is absolutely ridiculous. We live in a country where right now, like, a gallon of milk costs like $5, you know, and crap like that, and people are living paycheck to paycheck. So the fact that these people don't have money coming in anymore or an ability to take care of their families. Some of them have families, obviously, which means kids and dependents and people who can't take care of themselves. Like, that is absolutely ridiculous. And then just a final comment here. Deploying security guards to stalk us immediately after letting us know we could all be losing our jobs is psychological warfare. This is a comment by a guy named Zach Freeman, who is an eBay worker in TCG Union of the local chapter there. And he said that in a press release. By unleashing this brutal surveillance and intimidation campaign, TCG and eBay are doing everything in their power to punish us for exercising federally protected rights to organize. So they were trying to union bust is the word that they use there. And the workers that were previously employed there are under the impression that the reason they're losing their jobs is because they want the corporate eBay, those people want to prevent these people from unionizing and having any form of a bargaining power. So if you fire the whole union, there's no union to deal with, apparently. So, but yeah, this is a little bit shorter. This just kind of gives you the details on what's going on, and in my own opinion here, kind of as we switch gears here from reading the article, I just want to talk about this for a moment. At any point, when you hear someone, you know, losing their job, especially for not like performance-related reasons, like obviously if an employee is lazy and not doing their job, then like, yeah, they should be fired, right? That's how employment works, and that's how businesses work and things like that. But to do it on the grounds of if this is true, right? I'm not going to pretend like I know everything that's going on. I'm not going to pretend like I know what's going on at eBay and things like that. But if the accusations the TCGplayer employees are making is true, that's super terrible. Like, to fire 200 people who just lost their jobs. And mind you, this is in New York, where like everything's expensive and everything sucks. Really, to be honest, it's pretty hard in New York, from my understanding of the layout and things like that. There with taxes and junk like that. It's like, man, like that's just crazy, you know, that this is going on and that this is happening. And it's sad to know that people out there have lost their jobs, especially when you think about, like, when it comes to jobs like this, where it's like you're working at TCGplayer or whatever, it's because you have a love for tabletop games, a love for the community, the culture, and things like that, and all these wonderful things. And to be able to, you know, make your paycheck doing the things you love is like a huge blessing, right? And that's actually what I do too. I sell cards online, and that's what I do to pay my bills at the moment. And it's a huge blessing because that's what I enjoy. I enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh! I enjoy Pokemon. I enjoy the communities and things like that. And, you know, these people are losing their income, losing their love, basically, because it's being, you know, ripped away from them. And that, in and of itself, is absolutely discouraging. And what eBay is doing, if that's true, is absolutely disgusting. And they should be ashamed of themselves for real. And you shouldn't, you know, be able to fire people just because they have a union and you want to dodge the obligations to do that. And so if they were breaking the law in the way they were doing it, I hope that if there's court involvement and things like that, they're found guilty. If they went around it in a way that breaks the laws that we have set up in our country, I think they should be punished because you broke the law, right? So I hope that if they're done this in the wrong way, that they get punished and that this changes. Sadly, and by the way, this has happened like 6 or 7 days ago. It's June 2nd, Monday, June 2nd, and this happened about 6 or 7 days ago, I believe. And some of these reports are only a couple days old at most. So this is like fairly relevant, fairly like close to home, and like happening right now in front of us. And the reason I want to talk about this is because, well, you guys should know, at least my subscribers and viewers should know, that I sell on TCGplayer. I use their platform to sell Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, and Magic and things like that, specifically because it's a great interface. It runs really clean. They always got the latest, market hype and things like that involved, and you can definitely use that to make a little extra money and junk like that. And so that's what I use. They also have like the scanning function on their phone app, which is really awesome. And so I love their technology. I love it. It's helpful. It makes it possible for me to do what I do. If I went and tried to list all the cards that I have listed on TCGplayer on eBay, it would take me literally a lifetime. And so I'm definitely thankful for TCGplayer's website and things like that, because it's helped me be able to, make my dreams come true, basically. But what I don't like and what I don't appreciate is when people whose ability to eat and take care of their family and their home is taken away from them, especially for no good reason. I mean, if this is true, the accusation they've made, that is not good, and that's discouraging and disgusting, and I'm unhappy about that. And another reason I'm kind of bringing this up is because a lot of people, if you went on YouTube and typed in like TCGplayer store closing New York or whatever, there'd be a lot of local news articles about it, even some bigger ones. I don't want to say like CNN and stuff like that. I've obviously done that, a news bit or a news article on this or whatever. I'm sure they have probably though. But tons of local and some like state news media outlets and things like that are even talking about this situation, because I mean, it's big. 200 people lost their job, and there's accusations of union busting, and that's the reason that this is happening and stuff like that. So I mean, it's a pretty big deal. But like I said, if you went to those videos and you took a look at the comment section there, you would find many people saying, I'm done buying off of TCGplayer. I'm done buying off of eBay. We got to boycott TCGplayer and stuff like that because they've done this horrible, wicked thing. And I definitely agree that something should be done. I definitely agree that what they've done is incredibly wicked and evil and just downright not good business practices and disgusting, and they should be ashamed of themselves and stuff like that. But what the sad part is there's people out there like me who they make their living off of this, or their TCGplayer is connected to their brick and mortar store, and it helps them, keep the lights on and keep the business open and pay their employees, because, you open up your market to way more people when you can sell online and stuff like that, especially in the way that they do. And with TCGplayer, people come to TCGplayer looking for the products that you have specifically. They're not going on eBay and like, oh, I'm just looking for this for fun and stuff like that. It's like they come there, they're looking for specific products, the products that you have for sale and stuff like that I have for sale and that other people have for sale. And as of right now, I would say the people like me who sell on TCGplayer are actually being punished because of TCGplayer and eBay's actions, because when you buy off a TCGplayer, you're not buying from a corporation. You're actually buying from an individual. You're buying from me. You're buying from the hobby shop down the road. Like that's how that works. TCGplayer doesn't have the holdings. It's basically like a marketplace or like a consignment store where, they gain a fee off of the things sold within their store, and that's how they make their money typically. I'm sure there's a couple other ways that they make money, but the main way that they make money is that they charge. And I want to say that their fees, I think, have gotten a little bit more ridiculous than they should be recently, because I swear fees used to be 13%. Now they seem to be 20%. But they charge a fee on the sales that you make, and transaction fees as well and things like that. And so that's how they make their money. But it's not their inventory that they're making the money off of. It's my inventory. It's everyone else's inventory and things like that. And ever since this has happened, and all these articles and stuff have been coming out about what's happened, my sales have dropped drastically. And I'm gonna be honest, I usually get 15 to 30 sales a day. I mean, I only got like 3,000 live listings on TCGplayer. It's nothing crazy. And I do sell a little bit on eBay as well, but I literally have had 0 sales the last 3 days. And that's after actually recently getting a new collection that has some pretty cool cards. I mean, just look at this Blue Eyes White Dragon right here, Jump promo, amazing condition, stuff like that. And sold. right? And usually under normal circumstances, I think that card would have definitely been gone by now. And so I definitely think that I myself am experiencing a little bit of the fallout from this circumstance and things like that, which has kind of led me to make this video because, and also this is completely unedited and just off the cuff, just kind of my thoughts. Just so you know, don't have a script here minus the articles, but I'm just kind of talking this through and thinking this, and I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what you think about the situation. I want to hear what you're doing as an individual. If you shop off a TCGplayer normally, are you not shopping off a TCGplayer anymore? Like, are you just done until this gets resolved? My hope is that maybe this little boycott here does actually spur TCGplayer to take positive action and hire those people back and reopen that location and like choose to not do that again. That'd be nice if they learn their lesson. Sadly, I don't think corporations learn their lesson very easily. But I would love to see that happen. And I want to hear what you guys are doing. I want to hear what you guys think about the situation, and I want to hear what you think would happen. Please leave a comment about that, because I really do want to hear what you guys are thinking. But like I said, basically every comment I saw on any of the major news outlets that had posted about this, people are like, I'm just done buying from these individuals. They're like, go sell somewhere else, go buy somewhere else. Don't use them, because what they've done is truly horrible. And I do agree what they have done is definitely horrible. And I hope that their wrong is corrected and that they don't do that again, because that is absolutely ridiculous. And they should be definitely ashamed of the actions that they've taken. But yeah, so that's the first article. It just gives a little bit of, just a little bit of insight into what happened over the last couple days with this. And I do encourage you to go out and watch probably some of the videos on YouTube and get an understanding of what's going on, because this is important. If you're a Yu-Gi-Oh player, if you're a Pokemon player or a collector or anything like that, this does kind of affect you a little bit. And if you're a seller, it's definitely collecting you, because as of right now, it is definitely affecting me, I would say, in my own little business and things like that. So I do encourage you to be mindful of what's going on, and to maybe even reach out to TCGplayer and tell them what you think, and let them know that they don't approve of what they've done, because if people don't do anything about it, it's just going to stay consistent. So that's why you gotta take some action. So I do understand where a lot of people are coming from on their choice to not purchase from TCGplayer in this moment. But I do want to and I'll talk about this a little bit after I finish this second article. Maybe I won't read this big one because it's been 17 minutes and I've been rambling, but I'll read another one of these articles. This one gives a little bit more of a understanding of what the TCGplayer workers think is going on, and why what happened. So the union calls for boycott of popular TCGplayer marketplace after laying off workers. It seems the situation at TCGplayer is going from bad to worse, the situation we just talked about. After being acquired by eBay in 2020 and winning the vote to unionize in 2023, TCGplayer's authentication center in Syracuse was shut down, with over 200 employees laid off. The TCG Union, CWA, Communication Workers of America, Local 1123, claims eBay shut down this office down suddenly in an attempt to curb unionization. The CWA has said that this is an attempt to evade its bargaining obligations and to keep the company non-union. To make things worse, union workers have claimed that TCGplayer immediately sent security guards to the center as soon as the shutdown was announced, in an attempt to intimidate them. Now the union has called on TCGplayer customers to boycott the site in solidarity. We are calling for a boycott of TCGplayer to demand that eBay keeps the authentication center open and keeps 200 unionized jobs in Syracuse, said a post on the TCG Union's Blue Sky account. TCG enthusiasts, don't buy your cardboard from TCGplayer. eBay announced that they're shutting down the Syracuse Authentication Center to crush the union, putting us all out of a job, continued the thread. We're calling on our community to stop purchasing from TCGplayer until they agree to keep the Authentication Center open. The union is asking fans to switch to local retail shops and union-made Card Kingdom or peer-to-peer methods via social media to purchase TCG cards to show support for the boycott. The comments show quite a bit of support for this move, with customers pledging not to buy from TCGplayer, canceling orders, and even opting out of their subscriptions entirely. The union had some pretty strong words for TCGplayer's intimidation tactics. We refuse to accept eBay's corporate terrorism and contempt for our workforce, said CW District 1 Vice President Dennis Trainer. We will hold eBay accountable in the courts, in the streets, and in the public eye until justice is served with the very workers who built TCGplayer into what it is today. So, yeah, that's about what the workers think is going on. And like I said before, I hope that is not the case. I hope that's not what's going on. And I hope that if it is the case, that their accusations, TCGplayer workers' accusations are true, that TCGplayer is punished and that this turns around. I am thankful that the community is serious about helping their fellow card player and brother in arms basically out by, boycotting them and in solidarity choosing not to do business with TCGplayer at the moment. But dang, I gotta say, man, it's definitely, hurting some people. I know it's hurting me a little bit. I mean, I'll be fine, hopefully. Hopefully things will get sorted out and junk like that. But, it's hurting the workers, obviously, and their families and things like that. The actions that TCGplayer has chosen and the actions of the people who are boycotting TCGplayer is hurting the sales of the people that, are just trying to make ends meet and doing what they love. So that's kind of tough, right? And for me, I guess what I'm thinking through as I'm talking about this is like, how do you weigh this whole situation? How do you say what's right and what's wrong and things like that? Like, obviously it's easy to say like what TCGplayer did was wrong, right? And things like that. It's not a problem at all to say that. That's pretty easy. But and like I said, we don't know everything about it. The only people I know about it are the people that made the choice to do what they did. And so that's on them at the end of the day. And they need to pony up and do the right thing. But yeah, and like I said, I just want to talk about this a little bit, see what you guys think, and hear from you, because I do want to hear this from people who purchased there. And I mean, maybe you have connection to some of the individuals that are experiencing this moment of unemployment and the choices of the higher ups that own their company and are having to go through this in the moment. So yeah, kind of want to hear what you think. I think I'll skip the last news article, but yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you would do in these situations that are going on, and I might have to literally move my business to, I guess, Card Kingdom, whatever the TCGplayer employee had mentioned, if this goes south for a while. But regardless, it's an interesting situation. I want to hear what you think, and let me know, and we'll see what happens when it happens. So thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing. I have amazing content normally, I swear. Thank you for watching, and you guys have yourself a blessed day.